The best event is back, and I'm here to show you 3 decks that you can use to take on this event. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are taking a look at the NR Festival. I know it's basically only around for like one more day, but this is genuinely one of the most fun events, and I would highly suggest you continue to play it because it is still super duper fun, especially in comparison to ranked. Like, are you really going to want to log in and play ranked when you could play this very interesting dynamic format? I'm going to show you 3 decks that I've been playing. I also am going to be playing a whole bunch of other decks the day that this would be coming out. So I'm going to quickly hop into the decks and just show you them. Starting off with this one, which I believe is really fun, which is Marincess, aka Water. It's just like water cybers kind of stuff. This is the list that I came up with. Yeah, let me just quickly go through the card by card and the explanation. Starting off with the Marincess monsters, we basically only have 3 good Marincess monsters. Pretty much everything else is banned. However, the 3 good Marincess monsters we have are very good. We're starting off here with Mandarin. Mandarin special summons itself if you control more Marincess monsters. Seahorse happens to be the best one. It just like special summons itself to a link point, so you can normal summon it, link off into blue Slug, bring back the Seahorse, special summon it, and then go into a link 2. Pretty solid. We're also playing 3 Sleepy Maiden. Sleepy Maiden targets a Marincess you control, a Marincess card you control to special summon it from hand, and then protects that card while it is in the monster zone. So that is pretty good. So yeah, all things considered, those 3 are very solid. We're also playing one other Marincess, which is Basilalima, which is this one, which basically is just like a level 4 that you can normal summon. It has some kind of effects that kind of do something. It protects a monster by banishing itself from grave, which is pretty decent, but all things considered, it's not the greatest. Anyway, moving on, we have a whole bunch of other waters that we're playing. We're playing a small Ice Jade package with 2 Ice Jade Octi, which just discards a water in order to draw a card, which is pretty good on summon. And then we also have Tremora, which can send itself to the graveyard to special summon a water from hand, which is pretty nice. Pair that with any other Marincess, and you basically have the full combo there, which is pretty good. And then, of course, we have 3 Silent Sea Nettle, which is, again, just a guy, just freely special summons itself from hand, which is pretty good. And then we have 3 Cutter Shark, which is a very interesting card. We're just going to read it here together. When a card effect is activated that targets a monster you control and no other cards, or when a monster you control is targeted for an attack while this card is in your hand or grave, you could tribute this card to special summon. Tribute that monster to special summon this card. On special, you can activate the effect during the end phase of this turn, add a water monster from grave to your hand. Now, what this does is pretty simple, but it plays around Dynamicious. This is like the biggest thing, right? There are a few other things, right? Obviously, like an attack or something along those lines, but being able to dodge a Dynamicious is very useful. And then you just put the guy back into your hand during the end phase. Very strong, very powerful, and it comes out quite a bit. We're also playing the 1 Ogre because it is a water and is absolutely insane and should genuinely be banned. I believe it is banned in No Riches, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we're playing 2 spells. That is the 2 Battle Ocean. We're only playing 2. Playing 3 is a bit much. You really don't need it that often, but it is nice to have 2 of them. Then, of course, we are playing 3 of all of the good 3 Paleos, which is Olenoids, Canadia, and Dynamicious. These just happen to pair very well. They're water monsters and yada yada. You get the idea. We're also playing a piece of Marincess Wave, which is pretty simple. This is a card you probably already know. It's just basically Imperm for the archetype, which is pretty cool. And 2 Bubble Ring, which says when a monster declares an attack, negate the attack and then special summon a Marincess Crystal Heart from your extra deck or grave. And then on top of that, you can banish it in order to give your Marincess a level link 2 or higher Marincess you control battle equal to the number of link rating it has. So, for example, for a Marbled Rock, it'd get 3 attacks, but no battle damage cards. So, pretty decent. We're also playing 2 Backup Team. This is kind of an interesting card. You draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then place cards from your hand onto the bottom of the deck equal to the number of cards you drew. This is basically a way to trigger Paleos as well as a way to cycle your hand for better cards. For example, if there's a whole bunch of like random water monsters and not a Marincess, and you really need to see a Marincess, you can absolutely do that and just like cycle through. So it's not the greatest. This could be like a Book of Moon or MST or something else of that nature, but for the most part, it's not terrible. Then we are playing just a few cards here. We're playing Cat Shark. It's a fairly decent card. We're also playing Mannequin Cat as well for the Paleos. And then 1 Gagigo the Risen. The only reason for this card is just because I was like, maybe there's a reason to go into like a rank 4 at some point. We have a few 4s, not a ton, but like a few, right? These guys are all 4s. So I was like, maybe, you know, I didn't really have anything else to put in here. So there you go. We are playing, of course, 3 Blue Slug, because it's very, very good. We're playing as well 2 Sea Angel to search out the ocean. We're also playing 2 Crystal Heart as a way to make our monsters unaffected. And then the 2 Marbled Rock, which is our big end boss, just because it adds back cards and making it unaffected makes it really big and difficult to out, which is very, very good. On top of that, we're playing 1 Abyss Keeper, 1 Haggard Lizardos, as well as 1 Shooting Goat Talker. That's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performed. Alright, here we are going first, and yeah, this hand does not have a Marincess. Let's see what we can do with it, though. We did also draw 2 Dynamicious, which I'm not that big of a fan of. I really don't enjoy drawing all of the Dynamicious, because you have to discard so many cards. So I end up pitching 1, drawing into the Olenoids, and just setting 2 and passing. I'm like, okay, this is fairly decent. You know, we have Cutter Shark and stuff like that. So we're just going to pass. My opponent sets a whole bunch of cards. I'm like, okay, that's not good. Set cards are very dangerous. I'm just going to set another card, and out comes the Dynamicious, and I'm like, oh, cool, Cutter Shark. So now we know that they're also playing Paleo Dynamicious, which could be pretty much literally every deck. If we see another Paleo, and then I see the card they send, and I go, oh, no, that's actually really bad. Yeah, so this deck is extremely powerful, and you'll see why in a second. They're going to go Olenoids on my Olenoids. I'm going to go Olenoids on their set card, which happens to be another Dynamicious. I'm like, oh, well, I can't really do anything about that. But they do get one of their Paleos back, and now my Paleos basically just trigger their Paleos, which is not exactly what I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, they're basically going to have infinite bodies. Paleos are really good in this format. Anyway, they also get to trigger their Magical Light and go into Mannequin. Wow, that's crazy. Who would have guessed? They're just going to go to combat here, and set another card. Wonder what it could be. Anyway, I draw backup team. Like, that's so bad. I just set 2 and pass. Realistically, I think I should have just set the Dynamicious. I don't know why I don't here. This is kind of goofy from me. And then they have the Moko Moko, which is just so very bad. Oh no, I can't deal with this card. Like, at all. So I just have to let them draw a whole bunch of cards. If you're wondering as well why they didn't attack, it's because this card would have triggered the card in grave, which would have then just brought it back. So, there's that. However, of course, they drew the second Dynamicious. Sorry, 3rd Dynamicious, I believe. 3rd Dynamicious. So that's the 3rd Dynamicious. Anyway, we go for the Olenoids here, and they pitch another guy. I put the Olenoids in defense, because it doesn't really matter. We're going to negate here, and then they're going to special, but I am also going to special. And realistically, I should have put this in. Actually, it wouldn't have mattered. We're going to go and summon out the Crystal Heart. They're going to attack. I'm going to go for the backup team here because the reason for this is because, 1, I need to see a Marincess, which I do. I end up seeing Seahorse, which is the perfect one. And 2, they are not going to get a Paleo off of this, which is why I did this now, because like their zones are just clogged. So I'm like, okay, cool, fantastic. We're going to do this. They go main phase 2. They're going to then book the Moko Moko and go into Cat Shark. Now, Cat Shark has text, which is kind of crazy. They also flip up Giant Germ, which is a choice. I'm just going to elect to destroy the back row, which was pretty good. Fair Welcome Labyrinth is an insane card in this format. If you don't know it, read it. It's pretty crazy. We're going to normal summon the Seahorse from this point and just go into Blue Slug. Blue Slug is going to then add back that Seahorse, and I'm like, okay, I have a fairly good play here, right? I just get to do the whole combo. We go through Sea Angel. Sea Angel effect is going to grab out the Battle Ocean. We're going to activate the Battle Ocean. We're going to link 2 into the Crystal Heart, and then we're going to go into the Marbled Rock. So now we have the big unaffected guy, and we get to equip a whole bunch of things here. We're also going to then add back the Seahorse, and then we also are going to use the Bubble Ring effect in order to attack thrice, which is pretty good. I attack into the Cat Shark, and then I go, wait, hold on, this has text, and it says, while this card has material attached to it that was originally water, it cannot be destroyed by battle. And I was like, oh, nuts. Anyway, we walk over the Mannequin Cat. They're going to go for the Scissors, which I'm unaffected, so it doesn't matter. So we just walk over the Scissors again, and they're gone. So, bit of a goof on my part, but it's fine. Anyway, they go for the Moko Moko here, and dang, that's 3 set cards. That's kind of crazy. Hopefully we have something here. Sleepy Maiden is such an insanely good draw, and you'll see why in a second. We're going to go for the blue slug here as well with these. The seahorse. Seahorse is going to then be added back off of the Who'smo What's It. And then we're going to also return the Link 2 just as a way to like put it back into the deck. I also attack into the Moko Moko. You might be wondering, why did you do that? It cannot be destroyed by battle, and you just gave them a free draw. Well, the thing is, here's the thing. Now, if they elect to flip it face down, they can't flip it face up without putting it into attack position. And it would have to stay that way until the next turn. Do you see what I'm getting at? So they would have an attack position monster that can't be destroyed by battle with 300 attack face up on their field. Make sense? Makes sense. Stick with me. Anyway, they're going to elect to try and destroy Battle Ocean. I'm just going to special summon my Olenoids. So yeah, that didn't happen. Now, to be fair, the reason that didn't happen is not because they couldn't destroy the card, but because they couldn't negate the attack. So this card is worded really poorly, and it's one of the reasons why Labyrinth just like doesn't play this card. Basically, what happens is you have to negate the attack of a monster, and then if you do, if you negate the attack, you can destroy a card. Meaning, if your opponent were to like special summon a monster, or if they were to like tribute the monster that was targeted, or what have you, there's like a million ways to dodge this and make it do nothing. That being said, you also get to set a non-Labyrinth normal trap from hand or deck if you do get to destroy, so there's that. But keep that in mind. Fair Welcome Labyrinth requires you to negate the attack to do anything. They're going to shuffle back 2 of their Fair Welcomes and set 2 cards. They set an Olenoids and this card right here, which is absolutely insane, Ichiroku's Ledger Book, which says target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, banish them until the end phase, and your opponent gains 1,000 life points for each monster banished, that left the field via this effect. So keep that in mind because they do have the out to my board. Okay, so they're going to go for the Olenoids, and immediately I go, oh no, if they do the thing that I'm thinking, which is activate the Ledger Book, I lose. They activate the Ledger Book, they banish 2 guys, doesn't really matter. They banish Blue Slug, they banish Sleepy Maiden, and now my Marble Rock is affected, smaller, easier to deal with. I died, right? And then they didn't chain anything, and they instead go, oh, I'll go Crumble Logos. And now they target the field spell, and I, being the stupid that I am, think, oh, I'm still unaffected. Not realizing that the field spell is the thing that gives my guy unaffectedness, not the link material. My bad, it's fine. I'm going to elect to banish here. They're going to go for the Ichiroku's Ledger Book, and I'm like, okay, well, that sucked. Oh, sorry, I didn't attempt to banish. My bad. What happened is I activated the effect of the Marbled Rock, which does say when an opponent monster declares an attack, you can send a Marincess monster from your hand to the grave, and then you can't be destroyed and you take no battle damage. They're going to go for the Cat Shark on the Crumble Logos. I'm going to banish the Crumble Logos. They're going to walk into the field. I take a bunch of damage here. But remember that Moko Moko, that's an attack position because they elected to, keep it in attack position? Yeah, remember that. Because it might matter. We also do get to set the backup team, which is kind of funny. And we draw Marincess Wave. And I go, that's like not great. Like, it doesn't really do anything here. What does it do? What does it do? I'm really thinking. Anyway, we did draw Seahorse, so we're going to go for the Seahorse here. I chain block this because reasons. There's not really a reason to do that. Anyway, we special summon back the Mandarin from the grave, which then allows us to go into the Crystal Heart, and they're going to go Dogmatic Punishment. And here, we go for the Wave. Now, Wave has text that says, if you control a Marincess Link monster, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, negate that face-up monster's effects until the end of this turn. Then, if it's a Link 2 or higher, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. Currently unaffected. Got it? Got it. However, the third effect means with a Link 3 or higher, you can activate it from hand. So, the Marble Rock is there. So, keep that in mind, right? They're going to go for a whole bunch of things, and I'm going to go into another Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock is going to get a whole bunch of equips. And now, Sleepy Maiden has an additional effect here. You can banish it to equip another Link monster to a monster you control. Okay? To a Link monster you control, or something along those lines. So we now have a very, very large marbled rock. Now remember, my monsters are only... These are the only 2 monsters that are currently unaffected. This monster is totally affected. This monster absolutely, positively affected. Okay? Keep that in mind. So, we go to combat. They activate the Fair Welcome, targeting our Marincess, Battle Ocean. Now, of course it's not negated. Why would it be negated? My effect was not negated, or my combat was not negated because I'm unaffected. Great. We're going to do it again. They're going to do it again, targeting the same card that's not going to do anything. And then they lose. And the thing is, had they just saved it and just waited for that guy to attack, granted, to be fair, if they had done that, there is a high chance that they die, because I do so much damage, and I had a Paleo Engrave. Like, it's not exactly the most clean thing for them to do, to just be like, yep, that's, I gotta wait for that. But even with that being said, didn't work. And then I won. And that, I don't know how I won that game. That was a crazy game to win. Good game. Alright, now we gotta talk about Megalith. Megalith is the best deck in the game. In NR, obviously. The reason for this, very simple. Full, being able to entirely nuke the opponent's field with Bethor is really good when your opponent basically needs trap cards to work. Or at the very least be disruption, right? That's a lot of the non-engine. There's very few decks that can recover from a Bethor in any capacity. There are a few, but Bethor just kind of like, even popping like 2 is kind of insane. Also, the just insane advantage that is generated off of things like Emergence and Portal is also insane. And Lord of the Red is such a powerful end board piece as well. If you are able to stick this and a full, you basically just win the game. So, real quick, we're just going to do the card by card. I'm not going to explain this deck too much, because this is a deck that either you know about, or I've already explained this a whole bunch. So, we're playing 3 apiece of Pensaplume, as well as the 2 Talismandra and the 1 Candle as our incantation engine. That's the word I was looking for. We're also playing 1 Inception for the Candle, and then we're playing the 3 Senju, the 3 Monju as well to search out our monsters, and then we also have the Megalith, which is the 1 full, the 1 Bethor, and then the 3 apiece of Ophiel, 3 apiece of Haggith, the 3 apiece of Phaleg, and then the 1 Auk as well. And then for the spell traps, we're playing 1 Portal, 1 Emergence, and 3 Unformed. Unformed is maybe one of the craziest cards in Megalith. It's basically just a ritual spell at quick play speed, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're also playing 3 other rituals, which is 1 Demise, which says if this card is sent... if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a ritual monster you control while it is face-up on the field. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your ritual monster's effects. So basically what you can do is you can target one of your monsters that's going to stick around, like a full, like a Lord of Red, etc. And then you can use that in order to make all of your monsters just not be interacted with. It's kind of insane. So like you can activate full and then special Bethor, and then Bethor can just nuke the field and the opponent doesn't have a chance to do anything. It's fun. So there's that. And then we have Lord of Red, which says once per turn when a card or effect is activated, you can target a monster on the field to destroy it. And then once per turn when a card or effect is activated, except Lord of Red, you can target a spell trap on the field and destroy it. So basically it just nukes the field even more. You just remove the field. It's pretty good. As for the rest of the cards, it's pretty simple. We're playing 3 MST, we're playing 3 Dynamicious, and we're playing a Lost Wind. And yep, that's it. As for the extra, the only things that really matter are like Cross Sheep and Triple Burst. Sometimes, I don't know, like they're not bad. None of these cards are necessarily bad. It's just they don't always come up. So yeah, let's hop into the replay and show you how this deck performed. Alright, and here we are once again going first, and yeah, this is a very good hand, and you'll see why in a second. We're going to start off here with the Senju, and we're going to add to the hand the Phaleg, and then we're going to activate Portal and activate the Unformed. Unformed tributing the Phaleg, and summoning out the Ophiel, because we have to tribute twice as much in terms of levels. We're going to go Portal targeting the Phaleg, and then Ophiel is going to grab Haggith. We're going to go for the Haggith here in order to, tribute the Ophiel for the Haggith. Haggith effect is going to grab up the Emergence. Then we're going to go for the second Unformed, tributing our send you in order to go for full. Full is going to grab back the Ophiel, and then it's going to use its effect in order to summon a second Haggath. Haggath effect is not once per turn for the search, so we get to search up another unformed. Now we're going to use both Haggaths in order to go into Lord of Red, set to 2, and pass. My opponent is going to activate Ernest during the end phase in order for them to summon Parlor. And I'm like, okay, Lord of Red effects. Pop the card. So they're also going to send another card to the graveyard. I'm like, A-OK. Let's see what they can do here. This is probably the best setup that we can have, minus having used Demise. That's pretty much it. If we had used Demise, it would have been a little bit better, but pretty much this is the best that we can do, because we have Lord of Red, which is a pop for both spells and monsters. We also, Spell Trap and monsters. We have Full, which can summon Bethor, or pretty much anything at that point, which also just nukes the field. We also have Portal to add back and to protect our rituals from battle. We have Emergence to special summon back from grave. We have Unformed, which can summon from deck as well, which is all just insane. So we have quite a bit going on here. My opponent's going to dump a whole bunch of cards, then they're going to attempt to go to battle, to which I will promptly go for Bethor. Bethor is going to pop those two and then add back in Ophiel, which is going to promptly met by MSD. That's fine. We still have Emergence. We still have Unformed. I'm not feeling too bad. We even have Lord of Red here, so they're going to elect to go into Nurse Dragon Maid, and I'm going to Lord of Red to pop it to prevent them from getting their summon. And at that point, the game is very clearly over. So, yeah, we still had Emergence, we still had Unformed, we still had all of the combo. There's, like, not a whole lot that they can do. Even if they were to walk over Full, we could just bring it back and then use it later. Like, it's over. Good game. And the last deck we're talking about is Pendulum. Nah, I'm just kidding. Pendulum is not a thing in this game. What we're talking about is Metal Foes, and more specifically, Metal Foe True Draco. Now, you might be wondering what the synergy is here, and the simple answer is Metal Foe doesn't really need their normal summon, so you can use the normal summon on the True Draco stuff, and the True Draco stuff is very good. And you can very easily get to a continuous trap, which means that you have even easier access with your True Dracos. So that's pretty much it. And they are also removal, which is pretty solid. Anyway, if you don't know, the Metal Foe, the Metal Foes are very strong. Most of their deck, like almost all of their deck, is low rarity, which means you basically get to the entirety of the deck, and the deck's not bad, right? They focus on popping their scales or just popping face-up cards they control in order to then set their spell traps. Things like Full Metal Foes Fusion, Counter, and Combination are powerful cards that they can utilize in order with their fusions in order to generate even more advantage. The big thing about this deck is that once it gets going, it's very difficult to stop. And so they just generate more and more advantage, and that's basically how they kill you. They also have one of the strongest pieces of endboard technology in NR, which is Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, which is actually just an Omni Negate, which so few decks actually have access to. In fact, I don't think any decks outside of Pendulum have access to some sort of negate. Sorry, some sort of Omni Negate. I think there are, like, you know, I think, like, Breakthrough skill might be, actually, I don't think it is. You have, like, Forbidden Chalice and stuff like that for, like, monster negates, but there's very, very few in terms of full Omnis. So, Vortex Dragon is kind of the king around here. Granted, it's not hyper consistent to be able to make this guy. It is pretty consistent, but it's not, like, it does require you to draw very specific cards. Yeah, you basically need to make a rank 7, which uses Volflame or Melcaster in multiples in order to do that. Which is not consistent, but it's not hyper consistent. Anyway, we're playing basically the maximum amount of the Metal Foes. As you can see here, we're pretty much maxing out on everything. And then we are playing, 3 Stellan, 3 Silvered, 3 Gold Driver, and 3 Volflame for our normal monsters. We're also playing 3 Bismugear, which if it's popped adds during the end phase a Metal Foes from deck, and Melcaster as well. We're playing 3 of, which when popped adds a Metal Foe Pendulum from your extra deck, but then you can't use it. We're also playing 3 Bow Baboon, which if you've never read this card is hilarious. It's basically, well, on normal or special, you can draw a card and then place a card onto the bottom of the deck. Bottom or top of the deck. So basically you scry a card, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, you have the ability to, if destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon any number of Bow Baboons from your deck. Meaning, you can summon 2 additional after popping it with your own metal foes. So you get 2 bodies onto the field, which is pretty good. And then on top of that, you also have the ability to use those in order to cycle more cards, so you can see even more, which is very useful just in general, right? And then you can also use those to go into link monsters, like for example Pit Knight Early or Codebreaker, or you can't use Cross Sheep, or you could go into like Grand Pulse, which I'm not playing because I'm stupid. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the other monsters, we're also playing the True Dracos. We're playing 2 Majesty Maiden, as well as 3 Ignis Heat. And then we're also playing 3 Godarla. This may seem strange, but the problems for this deck are things like Full in Megalith, as well as things like the Vendrid Slayer. So being able to kaiju them and be like, here's a big guy you can't, you don't get to ever really interact with me, is pretty nice. This just happens to deal with both of those very effectively, and having a high attack point monster doesn't matter too much because we have a lot of ways of dealing with it. So not that big of a deal. As for the spell traps, it's pretty simple. We're playing 2 Heritage as well as 1 Disciple, and then the 2 True King's Return and 1 True Draco Apocalypse for our True Draco cards. And then we're running 1 Parametal Foes Fusion, which allows you to use your face-up extra deck as fusion, as well as the rest, which is pretty useful. And then we also have our Full Metal Foes Fusion, which is just a quick play version of a fusion spell, which is pretty solid. And then we're also playing 2 Counter as well as 2 Combination. And Counter and Combination basically do the same thing, where they just add cards back. So it's pretty good. And yeah, let's just hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and hey, that's Bababoon. Let's see what we can accomplish here. They're going to set 3 and pass. I'm like, okay, interesting. We're playing against a lot of traps now, which is not bad. We're going to start off here with the Bismugear and then normal summon the Bababoon and just immediately put back that other Bababoon, and then we can just pop a card and go for Combination. This now allows us to summon out the double Bababoon, and we're going to search, or draw some cards. They're going to Torrential here. This is a pretty bad Torrential, but I understand it. It's not terrible, because like Grand Pulse kind of does the same thing. Anyway, we put that guy into the bottom, and then we're also going to put the other one and just grab the Melcaster. They're going to go for Archfiend here, which is very good. And also, they're playing Catastrophe, which is a card that I would not have imagined. This says, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all spell traps on the field. Just Heavy Storm. So that is scary, but okay. We're going to go for a Silver here, which will be met by the Dynamicious, banishing the Bismugear, which is pretty smart. Can't really do anything about that. However, that being said, we still have quite a few plays. I'm actually going to go for the Melcaster here, and we're going to pop in order to trigger our, in order to get counter onto the field, because now we can just set the True Draco Apocalypse and just pass the turn. We've already used our normal, so we couldn't use it there. But yeah, we could just use the True Draco to tribute over the Combination, and then we also still have access to the True Draco Apocalypse to pop the Ignis Heat or whatever else as well. So, pretty solid. My opponent goes for Metal Flame Swordsman, which adds to their hand Zoa, which is a card that does exist, and it's basically just like a free summon of a big guy, which is not bad. Anyway, they chain a Paleo to my Apocalypse, which we then use to go into Ignis Heat, and Combination is going to search out the Bismugear that they so kindly banish. Anyway, we're going to then, they're going to activate Zoa, which is a big mistake. They shouldn't have activated it here. They should have just gone combat and forced out my interaction, because now I get to use Ignis Heat to just activate Heritage. So, that's a choice. Anyway, they're going to set a trap here as well. I'm like, sure, that's a-okay. They're going to go to combat here and then activate on Declaration in order to try and pop my Ignis Heat. But I'm like, no. So I just destroy my own card and put everything down halfway. But this also triggers counter. So now we can just special summon the Volflame here. And now they can't really do anything anyway. So I was like, okay. They just pass. Fantastic. We draw for turn, True King Return, which is so insane. We're going to activate the counter here, to which my opponent will activate the Flame Coating Metal thing here. I'm like, that's fine, bud. And then at this point, they realize they can't do anything. Sure, they have, like, the Heavy Storm, but at this point, I have the ability to go into a... well, actually, I don't even need to attack, but I could also just pop here and just pop the card. So, like, at that point, the game is over. I understand the surrender. But, yeah, we just generate so much advantage off of singular cards, and pendulums are very strong. So, good game. And we're back. And I'm not going to lie, NR is super duper fun. Having so many decks that you can play. First and foremost, you don't have to craft them with like a bunch of URs and stuff like that. Like, it's just commons and rares. Like, everyone can play a bajillion different decks. Yeah, I have a ton of decks that I still want to play, and I'm still going to. Oh, this event's so sick. One of my favorite events of all time. Just genuinely enjoy it. This is barely scratching the surface of the iceberg with this event. If you just wanted to play and get your pack, that's fine. But I would genuinely suggest taking a bit more time and looking at it. It's a very fun event. It's very interesting. It plays very differently from regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Or I should say modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It feels very similar to that of like Edison format, or yeah, mostly just Edison format. Not many other formats are. Honestly, NR might be better than like Edison in regards to like the current ban list and stuff like that. So it's very fun. It's very enjoyable. And yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.